Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's episode of Real Life Love. This episode is kind of a hot off the press. It's very much based on something that I'm experiencing in my own life. It actually just came up over the weekend. And anything that I share with you, I really do to be in service to two things. One, I hope that it will be helpful for you and something that you may discover or want to implement, but also always to remind and remember both you and I that, this is an ongoing learning and discovery process. And I by no means have it all figured out. I am figuring it out along the way, and there's a bunch of stuff that I have figured out that makes it easier. So, my partner of many years and I, we uncoupled about, I think it's just about 8 months ago. And although that relationship was frustrating and unfulfilling and unsatisfying in a number of ways, which is why I opted out, there was also a very strong friendship, and we were very supportive of each other, and we were quite kind to each other. So there was what I would consider a very solid friendship. So when we uncoupled, I didn't really have a strong need or strong desire to kind of completely banish him from my life. I had a pretty strong sense that we would be able to continue the friendship in some form and in some capacity. And I definitely took some space from him. I think it was a couple of months where we had very little contact just because I wanted some air, I wanted some room. I didn't really feel inclined to want to hang out, but it wasn't like there wasn't a lot of animosity, there wasn't a whole lot of friction. It was just sort of like it actually was relatively seamless. And I was grateful for that. I would probably hinge that on the fact that we had really good communication and we kept our dialogue very current during the time that we were together. So, over the course of the last few months, as many of you know, I have been in the dating world pretty actively, actually. And one of my most basic guidelines that just keeps it super, super simple and makes it really, it's like a guiding compass that I don't have to have a rule book to refer to, and it's this. How do I feel when I'm with the person? Am I enjoying myself? Am I laughing? Do I feel kind of naturally and organically connected? Is there a nice flow and a nice reciprocity in the conversation? Do they ask me as many questions as much as they like to tell me about themselves, right? So that really all comes down to what's my direct experience? How does it feel to be in their presence? And if I was going to chunk it down and really kind of nugget it down, what I would say is my desire in pretty much all of my significant relationships is that I want to feel inclined to keep opening. To me, the point of deeper relationship is that it keeps deepening, that there's more intimacy. So for me, what that means is that I want to feel inclined to keep opening my heart. And that can look a whole lot of different ways, but obviously there's going to be safety and trust, and also just like the like factor is going to be high. So as I've gone out in the dating world, this is kind of my litmus test and my barometer. I really notice and pay attention to how do I feel. And I recommend this to every single one of my clients who are dating, and they all come back to me and say, wow, that's a really simple guidebook. I don't have to have this checklist. I don't have to consult all these rules. I don't have to go up in my head and figure it out. I just go into my body and into my heart, pay attention to how it feels. So I spent some time over the weekend with my ex, and here's what I noticed. Didn't feel very good. I really didn't feel very good. I wasn't having a good time. I didn't feel open and receptive. I wasn't laughing. I wasn't fun. It just wasn't fun. And this is actually something that I've been noticing over the course of the last few months, is that I think I had a certain amount of maybe nostalgic or sentimental kind of attachment to maintaining a friendship. And, I think he's basically fundamentally a good person, but I don't really enjoy him that much anymore. I don't feel met. I don't feel fed. I don't feel nourished. It's not fun. And when I really got present to that, part of what helped me to discern that is the contrast that I'm now experiencing in my dating and in the relationships that are developing or forming. I have a contrast because they're very different. I'm choosing differently than what I chose last time. And, that's a direct result of getting really clear about what I want now. That's different than what I wanted then. So, it was a little bit hard to just really tell myself the truth and acknowledge that, because what it means is I don't really want to spend time with him right now. And of course, that might change, but I really go with my gut and with what's true and present and alive right now. That's really all that matters to me. The other thing that I wanted to say about that is, it's been sometimes easy for me. This is a little hard to admit, but sometimes I look back on that relationship and there were things that I really valued and learned and enjoyed about it. But the truth is that the more I started listening to my intuition, which I really started doing a lot the last year that he and I were together, the more I started getting this inkling that it really wasn't the right relationship for me. And there was a moment in time where I made a very firm decision in my own life that I was going to start relying on my intuition much more strongly. And you know what they say, you got to be careful what you ask for, because it was very shortly after that that I got just like a lightning bolt download. It was so clear that it was time to uncouple. And because I had been practicing listening to my intuition, I didn't question it. I just knew. It was like I knew it. And, I'm not saying it's an easy decision to make, but it was clear. So I know I had a point to that. I feel like because this is sort of more personal, it's not as linear for me, but I know there was some reason I wanted to bring that in. Can't remember what it is right now. But there's two things I want to kind of point to in this. The first one is around boundaries. And what often surprises a lot of my clients is when I help them discover that when we really trust our boundaries, we can actually be more fluid in them. In the beginning, it's like this line in the sand, and we don't trust ourselves, so we have to kind of use a little bit more force. I'm pretty relaxed about my boundaries now. I really trust what feels right. I trust my ability and my capacity to express them, and I trust that I will uphold them. So I don't make a big deal out of them. And I actually did have a conversation with him last night where I kind of got on the phone and I said, this is what's true for me now. And it felt important to actually deliver that information once I had arrived at that decision. And so the other thing is that that making a decision based on what feels right in a boundary, there's usually some action step that's going to help kind of cement that. It's going to help you really trust it. It's going to help put it in place so that it's not just an idea that you have. So those are the kinds of things that I really love supporting my clients with, because it's such a game changer. I mean, relationships just kind of clean up, they get less messy, they get less sticky, they actually get more fun, because clear, solid boundaries are this really wonderful container that helps hold the foundation for what it is, the kind of relationship that we want to have. So I really want to encourage you, if you are struggling with boundaries, whether in a particular relationship or just in a general way, reach out to me. I can definitely help you with that. And it's often much easier than you think. So I'm going to leave it there. But as usual, I would love to hear your comments, your questions, and your discoveries, and how this goes for you. Okay, take care. Bye for now.